Welcome back to Armchair Hero and welcome to the new sports channel, the Tyler Zed Sports Channel. If you are new here, wondering what the heck is going on, we created a new channel where we can just talk about anything sports related because it doesn't really fit our other content and people don't really want to hear that on those platforms. So we went ahead and started our own sports show. Today we're going to be talking about the Dak Prescott Conspiracy theory. There might be some merit to it. We're going to go over it here in a second. Dak has been in the news a lot lately with his contract negotiations with the Dallas Cowboys, which have not been going too well. And that's where the conspiracy comes in. And this headline just dropped. Dak Prescott sues woman who accused him of sexual assault, claiming $100 million extortion plot. He's got his brother as well on Twitter defending him, talking about how the Cowboys, their front office is in shambles, is what he's essentially saying. Dak Prescott tweeted, "So if it wasn't clear already, it is now. The Eagles have the best front office in the NFL. How about them Cowboys?" Also reposting this guy that said, "Name a bigger lie than all in. You can't." So criticizing the Cowboys, Jerry Jones, the front office. And the conspiracy comes in with the price of Dak Prescott's contract. He's projected to get between 50 and 60 million, probably the biggest contract in NFL history when it is signed. But are the Cowboys trying to lessen the amount there? Do they have anything to do with this? Let's dive into this headline that came out a few days ago about the extortion plot. So Dak is suing the woman who threatened to extort him. In this article, they talk about how Prescott filed the lawsuit Monday in Collin County, Texas, the Dallas Morning News reports. Per the lawsuit, the defendant claims that Prescott sexually assaulted her in the back seat of his SUV in 2017 in Plano, Texas, after the conclusion of his rookie season. Per the lawsuit, the unnamed defendant and her attorneys, we will hear from them in a second, by the way. We have a video clip of this lady's attorney speaking to a radio station in Dallas. Kind of crazy what he has to say. Going on, though. Her attorney sent a letter about the alleged sexual assault to Prescott's alma mater, Mississippi State, on January 16th. That letter was subsequently sent to Prescott's attorneys. Per the Morning News, the letter sought $100 million from Prescott in order to keep quiet about the alleged sexual assault. Through his attorney, Prescott denied Monday that a sexual assault took place. The lawsuit characterizes the letter as part of an extortion plot and seeks damages from the defendant in excess of $1 million. In a statement to the media, his lawyer described the defendant's actions as criminal. Going on to say, Mr. Prescott, a new father to a baby girl, has great empathy for survivors of sexual assault. To be clear, Mr. Prescott has never engaged in any non-consensual sexual conduct with anyone. Lies hurt, especially malicious lies. We will not allow the defendant and her legal team to profit from this attempt to extort millions from Mr. Prescott. Again, this is a very hot subject, and it has been for a while. You had the whole Me Too movement where it was believe all women no matter what. And we have many cases where that shouldn't have been the case, sadly, and they didn't let the courts play out. But I want to start with some cases that are true. This is the part that it's a fine line to ride. There are examples like Darren Sharper, who was sentenced to 20 years in prison after being accused of drugging and raping as many as 16 women. So these things do happen. Women do get assaulted. It's real. But at the same time, here's on the flip side. You have cases like Brian Banks. If you are familiar with his story, he was an all-star football player going to USC. A woman came out, said that he raped her. He went to prison for it, lost his NFL career, got out. Then he went to meet with her. And she, on camera, admitted to lying about him raping her. So he went to jail, and he was an innocent man. That happened. That's a real thing. I mean, it happens both ways. I also have to mention that this is not the first time that players and coaches have been extorted by people for money. This has happened a lot. One of the higher profile cases had to do with the Louisville basketball coach, Rick Pitino. A woman was sentenced in 2011 to more than 7 years in prison, threatening to reveal a sexual tryst with Louisville basketball coach Rick Pitino unless he paid her millions in cash, luxury cars, and a house. She went to prison for that. She was found guilty. Then you have the Robert Griffin case. There was a man who tried to extort him to the tune of $1 million who was sentenced. I believe he spent almost 2 years in prison for that. Now, let's get to what the lawyers have to say, and you can get some more information here. as to who is representing this lady, and then why it's kind of fishy that the Dallas Morning Radio had her on.
Dak Prescott's accuser is asking for $100 million.
They have to do an investigation, see if there's probable cause, issue a warrant for Dak Prescott's arrest. Our client, Victoria Shores, back in 2017, was Mr. Prescott. He has, changed his story since we've been hired on this case. He initially said, he needed assistance remembering her. Then he said he remembered her. You got to keep in mind, not only is she a victim, but we're talking about Dak Prescott. We're talking about the quarterback of America's team. We've even seen some hate messages from Cowboy fans, These guys never met Dak a day in his life. And some of the Cowboy fans say, oh, well, we know he's innocent. How do you know that? But that's what Victoria was fearing.
That $100 million figure accurate?
To be honest, I don't think $100 million was out of the realm of possibility. Now, were we willing to negotiate it? Yes.
7 years later, it leads you to believe that this person is just doing this for money. It's also just strange that 105.3 The Fan, the flagship station for the Cowboys, the official station of the Cowboys, allowed this person to come on and talk about this. Which is why some people are saying that Jerry Jones did this to lower Dak's contract value, because Dak is negotiating his current contract. And this may be far-fetched, but either way, it's just sad that Dak has to deal with this because he makes a lot of money. Someone also pointed out this lawyer is only in their second year, went to a very below average law school, and may be just looking for a client to make a bunch of money.
And that's where the conspiracy is, and this was tweeted out the other day. If it is true, it's very scummy, very evil. So this account tweeted some nasty business that I'm ashamed to even think about having to discuss regarding Dak Prescott and his extortion situation. I don't have all the details, but like my guys, Professor ONFL and Jay Tuck have already touched on, having the lawyer of the alleged victim onto the flagship station of Cowboys football to discuss allegations involving a player is weird. But it's especially weird when said player is also in the midst of one of the most polarizing contract disputes in modern sports history. We all know the Joneses use the media to forge their position in the negotiation process, so I find it very hard to imagine the timing of all this is coincidental. Like I said, I don't have all the details, but I'm prepared to be discussed. Initially, when you hear this, you think, did they tell this lady to do this? Or is this false allegations helped by Jerry Jones? I don't think that's the case. What could be the case, which seems more likely by letting that lawyer go on the flagship station, is that this is happening. The lady accused Dak of this, and the Joneses are exploiting it. And they're saying, oh, well, let's give her a louder voice. Let's put this out in the headlines. Let's give ourselves some leverage here in these negotiation situations. We could say, oh, well, you know what? If this is a real thing and these lawsuits go forward and you are found guilty and we have a Deshaun Watson situation, Dak, you might sit out a few games. I don't know if we can pay you as much because there's that risk there. That risk factor is there, and it's not worth $60 million a year or that much guaranteed money. That could be what's happening, and that seems what is happening with this lawyer going on the flagship station. Very scummy if that is the case, and I honestly feel really bad for Dak. Dak gets a lot of crap, obviously, but I do think he's a great quarterback. I really do. I like him as a player. I hope he gets his contract. I think he deserves it, and I hope all this goes away for him because it's I cannot imagine being in his position, having to deal with this crap. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you put this past the Joneses? Would they do this? While you're down in the comments, please make sure you like this video. Please make sure you subscribe for much more in the future. That's it for this episode. Until next time, I'm Tyler Zed, and this is Armchair Hero.